The young girl entered her room and abruptly vanished without a trace. Subsequently, the police launched an extensive search operation, deploying drones, helicopters, and enlisting numerous volunteers. Despite their tireless efforts spanning several days, the initial searches yielded no results. However, on the third day of the search, an unforeseen turn of events thrust this case into the national spotlight, leaving everyone astonished. Athena Strand was born on May 25, 2015, in Duncan, Oklahoma, a small town in the United States. Her parents separated early in her life, with Athena's father moving to Texas. Despite the distance, he remained closely connected to his daughter, visiting her whenever he could. Athena's mother also made an effort to ensure that Athena spent quality time with her father, even taking her to see him on occasion. Even after their divorce, Athena's parents continued to foster a friendly and cooperative relationship, primarily for the well-being of their daughter. Later on, Athena's mother remarried, and her father also found a new partner. Athena developed a close bond with her two younger sisters and made sure to spend quality time with them. She was a typical, cheerful child who exuded positivity and loved playing outdoors. In late 2022, when Athena was 7 years old, she temporarily moved to her father's home in rural Texas. The plan was for her to stay there until the New Year holidays before returning to her mother in Oklahoma. During her time in Texas, Athena attended the local elementary school. Her father's house was surrounded by forests and fields, offering ample opportunities for outdoor adventures with her dad and building a strong relationship with his new wife, Elizabeth. On November 30th, everything seemed normal as Athena returned home from school around 4:15 p.m. on the school bus. Her father and grandfather were out hunting, so Athena was under the care of Elizabeth. However, Athena appeared unusually upset that evening, leading to a disagreement between her and Elizabeth. Eventually, Athena took offense and retreated to her room, while Elizabeth went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. After about 20 minutes, Elizabeth decided to check on Athena in her room to call her for dinner, only to discover that the girl had vanished. Elizabeth searched the entire house and even looked in the yard, but there was no sign of Athena. Concerned, she contacted nearby relatives, whom Athena occasionally visited, but they hadn't seen her either. Elizabeth promptly informed her husband of the situation, and he advised her to call the police. He hurried back to the house. Elizabeth made the 911 call around 6:40 p.m., and the police arrived at her residence just 14 minutes later. She explained what had happened and shared her perspective on the unfolding events. Elizabeth believed that Athena might have run away due to their argument, but Athena's relatives strongly doubted this theory. Firstly, Athena was only 7 years old and had never ventured far from home before. Secondly, it was already evening, and Athena had a fear of the dark. Initially, the police held some suspicion toward Elizabeth because she contacted them 40 minutes after discovering Athena's disappearance. However, after hearing her account of searching the house and contacting relatives, they leaned towards believing her. The officers swiftly initiated a search despite the darkness outside. They combed through the forests and fields within several kilometers of the house. Their leading theory was that Athena might have left the house and got lost in the dark. They also considered the possibility of an abduction but found no evidence to support it. There were no signs of forced entry into the house, and no one had heard any unusual noises or screams that evening. Neighbors reported nothing suspicious. The police, aided by Athena's relatives and concerned community members, including her mother, continued the search until nearly 5 a.m. Unfortunately, no traces of Athena were found. The rugged terrain around the house, especially in the dark, complicated the search. By 7 a.m., the police expanded their efforts, deploying more officers. As news of Athena's disappearance spread, hundreds of volunteers joined the search. Some used horses and ATVs to explore the area, while the police employed drones and helicopters equipped with thermal imaging. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't locate Athena, and they were increasingly worried about her safety given the onset of winter. Though Texas is a southern state, the temperature had dropped to 10 degrees Celsius, and Athena was dressed in light clothing, making it challenging for her to endure such conditions. On the third day of searching, the police expanded their search radius to 10 kilometers around the house. They also involved colleagues to investigate any potential criminal aspects of the case. Even though there was initially no evidence of abduction, the police became increasingly skeptical that Athena had left willingly. Despite searching several kilometers in all directions, the possibility of Athena covering such a distance on her own without encountering any populated area seemed unlikely. Investigators worked to identify anyone who had been near the house on the evening of Athena's disappearance. This task was challenging due to the house's remote location. Additionally, there were no surveillance cameras in the vicinity. However, they did obtain a crucial lead. A courier service had delivered a package to the girl's house on that same evening. Investigators contacted the FedEx company, which revealed that a third-party contractor had handled the delivery to that address. They contacted the organization responsible for parcel deliveries and determined which van had arrived at Athena's house on that evening. Fortunately, each of these vehicles was equipped with a surveillance camera. They promptly requested the video recording for November 30th, rewinding it to the time when the van arrived at the house. The investigators were met with deeply disturbing footage. The driver was seen forcibly pulling a girl who resembled Athena into the vehicle. They immediately identified the driver as 31-year-old Tanner Horner and swiftly went to his address. Horner was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and subsequently brought in for questioning. During the interrogation, as soon as the investigators mentioned the existence of video footage from the camera, Horner began to speak. He admitted that he was indeed delivering a package to Athena's house that evening. While reversing his van, he felt an impact and got out to investigate, discovering a girl on the ground. According to Horner, she didn't appear to have sustained any serious injuries, was conscious, and even spoke to him, revealing her name as Athena. She mentioned that she would inform her father about the incident, which sent Horner into a panic. He decided to place her in his van, uncertain about how to handle the situation. He understood that if the girl reported the incident to adults, he could face legal consequences. In his account, he couldn't think of any other solution than to eliminate her. Horner claimed that he initially attempted to break her neck but was unsuccessful. He then resorted to strangling her, and afterwards he disposed of her body in a river near a neighboring town. Naturally, this version of events left the police deeply puzzled. Nevertheless, the suspect led them to the exact location where he had left Athena's body. The discovery of the girl's lifeless form shocked not only her family, but also countless individuals throughout the country. The mainstream media extensively covered the case, and people were appalled by the cruelty displayed. Following the recovery of Athena's body, Horner was charged with both kidnapping and murder. As they awaited reports from medical experts, detectives scrutinized the identity of the criminal with meticulous detail, attempting to gain a better understanding of his motives. The narrative that Horner presented to them appeared wholly implausible. According to his account, he had only lightly struck the girl with his van, causing her no serious harm. Yet, inexplicably, his overwhelming fear drove him to commit such a heinous act. Given that the harshest punishment he could face for striking a child without causing injury was dismissal, Horner's case turned out to be quite perplexing. The police discovered that Horner was engaged and had become a father a year before the incident. Besides his package delivery job, he occasionally drove for Uber. Horner was also a musician and played in a band at various cafes in a neighboring town. On social media, he frequently shared photos of his child and clips from his musical gigs. From these posts, one wouldn't think of Horner as a monster. Indeed, he had a clean legal record up until his arrest. The police found no evidence in his background to suggest he was a violent person. Just 2 months before Athena's tragic death, he had shared photos of a day out with his son and the boy's grandparents. As everyone awaited the medical expert's report, which was expected to provide clarity on the situation, it was delayed for several weeks. In the meantime, Athena's parents sued FedEx and the contracting company, blaming them for employing Horner. They urged for stricter screening and hiring processes to prevent such incidents in the future. The story took an even more heartbreaking turn when it was revealed that the package Horner was delivering that evening contained a Christmas gift for Athena. Her parents had ordered a Barbie doll she had longed for. When the medical experts' findings were made public, it only deepened the mystery surrounding the case. The report stated that Athena had died within the first hour of her abduction. Her body bore injuries of varying severity, and the cause of death was determined to be strangulation. Horner had a clean record before this incident, which is unusual. Typically, those who commit such serious crimes have a history of lesser offenses. Detectives spent weeks digging into Horner's past, talking to his family and friends to uncover any signs of previous wrongdoings. Their persistence paid off when several individuals came forward, claiming to have been victimized by Horner during their childhood. The police kept their identities confidential for the sake of the investigation. What is known is that one victim alleged Horner abused her 9 years prior. Horner faced additional charges related to incidents of minor abuse in 2013. It's unclear if these allegations involve one or multiple victims. What's more, a woman had been speaking out on social media for years, claiming Horner abused her when she was 16. She tirelessly tried to warn others about his dangerous tendencies, but frustratingly, she went unheard and unbelieved for years. He was neither punished nor even considered a suspect for her allegations. But after the tragic incident with Athena, her claims suddenly held more weight. The scrutiny intensified, and Horner's past actions and potential motives were brought to light. He is now facing legal consequences for these 4 reported incidents separate from Athena's case. An interesting side note that might offer further insight into Horner's psyche came to light when people found his TikTok account. Among a few innocuous videos, one stood out. Filmed just weeks before Athena's murder, it showed Horner watching a video of someone trapping a beetle under a glass and slowly poisoning it. As he watched the insect's death throes, an eerie delight spread across his face. If he truly found pleasure in witnessing pain and death, it casts further doubt on his account of what transpired with Athena. Horner claims that he killed Athena simply out of fear of facing punishment for a lesser crime seems improbable, especially when considering his potential sadistic tendencies. As the trial preparation advances, authorities are pushing for the death penalty. Despite the advice from his lawyer to retract his confession and claim innocence, the evidence against Horner is overwhelming. There's video evidence from the van, and his own confession about where he hid Athena's body solidifies his guilt. Furthermore, once the trial commences, more evidence may surface. It's highly plausible that Athena's DNA was discovered in the van. Plus, any genetic material on Athena's clothes or body could also incriminate the accused further. As this case unfolds, we'll be sure to keep our audience updated with the latest findings. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and take care.